Could be worse. We love you, enemy.
Love you.
Enemy's just like, what the fuck? Why did I have to get these two dipshits?
Are we live?
Not yet. Oh,
Okay,
we are
good.
live. Oh, we
we are?
been live. Oh, we have been live.
Yo, what's up?
Oh.
Alright, welcome everybody. We are your caster's caster. I will be shoutcaster Kip and analyst. This guy over here.
You're pointing the wrong way.
Oh, am I? Is he over here?
You're like this in the opposite way. I'm like, I'm over the other.
It's probably swapped on my screen. You're over there.
Yeah, no, it shows you on the left side. I'm on the right, but we're definitely going in the right direction. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
We're definitely going in the right direction.
Of
Oh no,
course.
see? Okay, wait a minute. I'm looking at the Twitch stream, and it's like fucking up apparently. But whatever. The only thing that's not fucking up is our game today. So
Of course,
it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a nice, smooth game. There's gonna be no problems. Everybody's gonna pick their champions. All 5 teams are gonna be here. Speaking of the teams, how are you feeling about not Mailbox's Angels, UPS versus the other team?
You don't even know the other team name? Wow. That's kind of that's degrading. It's
a really weird name though, isn't it?
no, it's Third Impact.
Third Impact, duh. They were talking about it. You're so right. Okay. So how do you feeling about UPS versus Third Impact?
How do I feel about a government service versus a potential boy band name? I really don't know. But,
oh man, potential boy band name.
Both teams. Wait, no. UPS is 0-1, if I remember correctly, because they lost against OTS. Third Impact did win their opening game, I think, right? Yeah, they did win because I was versus the Bayday Carry fan club. Almost said the babies. They haven't played them yet. But
yeah.
So it's basically a government postal service versus potential boy band name. So
Yeah.
I really do like the jungle matchup though for both teams. I really think if you're kind of looking at the Yogiza versus the Mailbox matchup, I think that's kind of the big focal point. But we kind of saw it in the game against OTS where they really kind of threw a little bit of the early game potential. Their bot lane fell behind pretty substantially against the opposing bot lane, and then you had the mishaps in the top side of the map, which got Ampapod ahead in that matchup in the Olaf versus Rammus. And they picked a really interesting comp, which was a late game comp, which would have worked out fine, but they just kept taking all these weird fights. They did win a few of them, but essentially it was a little bit too late because they just weren't coordinated enough. And that's going to be the thing looking into this week where there's so much flexibility on this Third Impact lineup. We saw Lenny pop off on the Wukong with Katara playing after giving up the first blood, but after, as we're going to be getting into the draft soon, that's the big question. It's basically, can the top side of the map play for UPS? And is Third Impact going to be able to play from the bot side? So I think that's going to be the big thing going forward.
Of course, because we all know the Zuko Mailbox synergy has to be there. Because last game, it just wasn't, right? They were getting double killed. It was just not a good sight. Mailbox was so far behind on this Rammus pick, right? Just so many things just not being in line. But I'm hoping that this game we could finally have those pieces in the right place, because I know Jared loves his puzzles. I love playing puzzles with Jared, but he just needs to be in the right place, making them connect. Because if they don't, right, we don't want to fall into another situation where, based off of early game, your star player is suddenly just looking like the worst player on the team. I'm not saying that that's what it was, but you just don't want a situation like that. As well as like Yogiza, like you said, this is going to be a really, really tight jungle matchup. Really want to see how these guys play against each other, as well as Lenny in this bot lane.
I do see the Senna ban, which is interesting because they played the Senna last week.
It makes sense.
But it's also one of Drown's better champions that they didn't get to pull out on display. The problem The thing with the Senna pick, though, that I really like that got banned, even though they could have first picked it and flexed it around in both AD carry and support and done a fasting comp, is the fact that A, you leave the Seraphine open, B, Drought plays weak side. But the problem with playing weak side is he's not strong. We saw him pop off last season, but the issue I have with Drought being like a hyper carry is the fact that they don't gank bot a lot, and that's what's so scary about this UPS team is that a lot of teams are going to know going in that it's, they're never going to go bot lane. They can capitalize through the punishment through tower dives unless Jared's nearby, and that's going to be different. I really think they have to pick the Kha'Zix. He has to be on a carry, because if he's on a tank like he was the last game, it's not going to go well. But the Kha'Zix is still A tier in some regions, like in terms, like just the ability for the Kha'Zix to carry potentially on a 1v5 situation. But I want to see if they're going to pick the Tristana, because I know that's what kind of gave Drought his name last season, was to Tristana.
Yeah, I do want to go back onto your point, like, Mailbox on a signature carry, like it's been in his champion pool, it's been like one of his #1 junglers, because like you said, his first 2 junglers, Kane, probably the most played, and then Viego, we've seen some really star plays by him on that champion, like both taken off in the first ban. So the fact that they were left open this Kha'Zix, it's kind of like, hey, we're leaving open this Kha'Zix, maybe they have a plan for it, as Runeato gets his signature rel. How do you feel about Runeato specifically on this pick?
He didn't look strong on it in our game specifically, and I think that's what kind of makes it look awkward. And I think Rel is still a power pick, especially with the Seraphine being locked in too. But remember, the Seraphine can be flexed around, and if I'm third impact, I'm looking at an Alistar pick.
Really?
Because you have so much flexibility with the Seraphine, because the Seraphine can still go bot lane as
That's
the
true.
AD carry, which means you still get the counter pick for the mid. If they blind pick their mid on the third rotation. But Alistar just counters the Rel engage and will also be able to a good front line for this composition too, because if they have no front line, it's going to be really deadly for this. The problem I also have with UPS picking the Rel too, especially because it almost seems like Runeato isn't synergized.
Yeah, as we get our first, I've never seen this before happen.
Did they pick? Oh, I'm not even in the game. I'm not even loading up on the League of Legends client. Oh.
Well, it seems that they kind of didn't lock in time in the. There will be we will figure out what that pick is. But like you said, there's the Alistar you're talking about, hovered here for the secondary pick. As we figure out what that was.
Yeah, that's just gonna be a really interesting draft. But going back to the point, okay, can you invite me to the lobby, by the way? I don't know if you can.
I will.
But one of the things I really noticed with the first game with the synergy issue wait, what? They switched it to the volley?
The Volibear. Volibear is pretty good into Kha'Zix early. At some point, Kha'Zix will just be a teamfight menace, as well as Volibear's just really strong in the meta right now.
And that's a Vladimir pickup again, and I really don't like the Vladimir. The Vladimir takes too much time to scale. He can get countered really easily with the Cassiopeia or any other like hard champion that could out train and out sustain him. I really don't like the Vladimir, because we saw it last game where the Vladimir didn't even do much. Couldn't kill the AD carry, couldn't kill the support, couldn't kill mid or anything, and it just kind of feels like a forced pick.
So I'm being told it's Seraphine, Alistar, and Voli.
Yeah, so it is the Alistar. So it is okay. Which is fine. I think the Alistar is a really good pick, like we talked about. So now they have, if you look at their composition, they have 2 massive front line with the Alistar, with the Volibear. So what's going to be the pickup here? Are they going to go with a hyper carry for Lenny? I really want to see her actually play an AD carry, especially because I think this is a perfect opportunity for her to be able to play the 2v2 well with Kataro against Drought and Runeato. Because like I mentioned, there seems to be no synergy between Drought and Runeato. And one of the reasons why, UPS, formerly Mailbox Angel, succeeded last season was because their bot lane was able to actually play even or even get ahead through their own leads in a lot of the matchups. So the problem that they have with this team is Drought is a little bit more passive unless he is able to pull the trigger. But we saw last game he was never able to pull the trigger, which basically forced him to kind of play off the back foot, and that's not his style. As we get 380 carry bans.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that, not to, say anything about Drought or Rentato, but like Ghost of Lini and Ghost of Kitara have been playing together forever, and I think that this duo has synergy like you were talking about earlier, and I think they can really well succeed, and it's up to Drought and Rentato to prove that they can do that as well. Just
But
to
the
touch as Kalista.
Vayne, I don't like this pick with the Vayne here. So now the reason why is now Kalista can easily. I want to see Vayne Rel doesn't synergize really well until honestly a little bit later into the game because of the fact that Vayne requires to level up her skills. Because Kalista in the 1 through 3, even at level 1 actually can just outright trade against Vayne. Because Vayne doesn't have any itemizations yet. She doesn't have a Noon Quiver or tier 2 boots. So right now they kind of baited the Vayne pick.
Oh, the Ornn.
So is that going to be? Are they really pairing Kalista Seraphine though? That's my issue.
I think it's Kalista Alistar.
Oh, it is Kalista. I keep forgetting that the Alistar is not there.
Yes.
But now here's the problem I have with their composition. If they do get to the late game, UPS outscales them by a mile.
I think I want to touch on that, but also my biggest problem with this comp is sure you have the beefy boys, the Ornn, the Alistar, the Volibear, but backline, it allows for the backline to be pretty safe with these big front tanks to, hide behind.
But Kalista's not a tank. But Kalista's not a tank killer. And Vladimir's going to be tanky enough. Rel's going to be tanky enough. Silas is actually going to be the pickup. I kind of like it because you can steal the Ornn ultimate. You can also steal the Seraphine ultimate, the Volibear as well too, the Alistar. So now you basically have a nice little 3, kind of almost like a pseudo frontline for the side of UPS. But I also like their late game composition. Vladimir's just going to be able to have backline access while dodging the majority of the front line. Vayne just does really well into this tank composition because of her itemization and her overall kit. And now you also have this Silas that's also a monstrous late game. What is Kalista going to do when she's generally not known for her late game?
True. They have to win early. That's the answer, right? You have to punish this Vayne. You have to really punish the fact that if Rentato tries to assist the Vayne in this this early laning phase, that the only way Rel can really do that is with her W, or else she's having to walk up to try and get a stun with her E or something like that. But the moment Rel uses her W, the Alistar and Kalista can easily kite, reposition, and just punish the fact that Rel's sitting there walking at a 0% movement speed under the speed limit. It's getting arrested for this fact that like she's not moving anywhere, like a turtle just flipped over on her shell, right? They're gonna easily punish this Rel, as well as like the Vayne just doesn't have the I would say the early game tools to deal with this Alistar Kalista that can be on your face. So the Rel's gonna have to be playing at peak performance in this bot 2v2.
Well, the thing with the Vayne though is that Vayne does have the condemn, so she can at least block or mitigate the combo from the Alistar, which is it's not that hard to time, honestly. Like if you've had enough practice with Vayne, you can easily just condemn Alistar out of the headbutt pulverize combo. But what I want to actually see happen is the mailbox has to camp this mid, and I think this is where it's going to be very vital because Definitely. I feel like he's going to be getting a little bit better ability to kill the Seraphine early. There's going to be no pressure bot side because he's never really going to gank bot unless there's a golden opportunity in which they misposition if you're Linnea and Kataro. But really, yeah, this bot lane has to win early, in my opinion. And I want to make a point. There was a comment that I saw on the Twitch stream. About the Poppy pick, but I really don't like the Poppy, to be honest, because of the fact that Poppy has to flank. in order to get the stun. Yes, you can block the Kalista because of the dash abilities and get the stun, but when you have an Alistar, Volibear, and an Ornn, how are you, if you're a Poppy, you have to flank. You're not going to be able to run through half of that front line and be able to get the stun onto it. So while it is a viable pick in my opinion, because you can also knock away a few of the team fights if you can get them separated, I really think if you're trying to look for the Poppy specifically, it would have not worked well. I actually would have liked to see the Malphite. Malphite has great backline access. He can easily get on top of Linny and force Linny to like play around the Malphite, because especially if Malphite itemizes Frozen Heart with the, of course, his mythic item and also with Thornmail, what is Linny gonna do? You can't. You're not a tank killer. So if we're going based off early game, I really do like Third Impact in terms of their draft, but I really actually like UPS's late game composition, because what are you gonna actually do when if Runeato does get all the tanks into the Magnetic Storm, and Alistar can't pulverize Runeato out of the fight, now you have a Vladimir with the ultimate running Mach speed at you. I'm assuming he's taking Phase Rush, because I think Phase Rush would be very valuable in this situation. Then you have Mailbox on the Kha'Zix, able to access the back line, and then you have Zuko just being able to sustain in these fights just because of the fact that Silas's kit is actually really good into tanks, in my opinion. So and I think that's one of the things.
So yeah, I would have to say that, like you're saying, it's gonna be really, really tough for these tanks, or at least late game against these champions. But the way I see it, right, neither team has the best, range. So most fights are going to be like tavern fight brawls. Everyone has their fists just punching each other to the death, right? And in those situations, I would have to give the edge to the Seraphine and the Alistar, because the thing is, the Seraphine ultimate in these fights are always going to hit key targets, right? The thing is, Kha'Zix can always ult and reposition. Vladimir can always W, but the Vayne, the Rel, they're very, very... of course, Vayne can reposition, but these targets are going to be very, very vulnerable, as well as I really like the engage options on the side of Third Impact, with the Kalista throwing the Alistar in. Like, it's going to be really, really tough. Yogiza's going to be jumping on a carry, or an ultimate's going to be coming on. There's so much teamfight disruption going on that in these team fights, early to mid game, I really, really value Third Impact's just overall composition, because Kha'Zix doesn't really do the best in team fights, as Mailbox would kind of argue with that. In my opinion, Kha'Zix just doesn't have the tools to survive until he has these key items or has the correct runes, which I assume he did go the correct runes. There's probably some sort of conqueror, right?
Maybe I would have to slightly disagree with you with that. Kha'Zix is not good at team fight. He's really good with repositioning and forcing the enemy backline to kind of consider whether or not they want to go forward, which I think why Linny's bringing the exhaust. Because if you also think about it, let's assume that both AD carries go down. Who's your damage dealer on Third Impact?
So that's the thing. I think it's really hard to get to these backlines, though, right? Because
I think UPS and Third Impact both have ways to get into the backline access. You were talking about the Vladimir who can Sanguine Pool into the ultimate at the same time, so I really think that's going to be the big thing. You have Runeato that can actually lock down if she's able to get the stun. You have Kha'Zix who can reposition. You have Zuko on the Silas who can take an ultimate.
Yes, of course.
Those are great ultimates to take. I mean, you already got Seraphine Ornn to take. That is actually a really good pick for the last pick Silas to come out, in my opinion. And I really think that there's a possibility for this team to capitalize well. But my biggest concern is this bot lane. Are they going to win? Are they going to be able to play safe enough to where they're going to let Vayne get to her items? I really think, again, Vayne does well into the late game. Kalista doesn't. But again, Kalista's going to be able to win from 1 through 8 unless they miscapitalize. I personally do not like the exhaust here on Kalista at the same time, because I really think now you cannot take. I'd rather have seen the barrier.
No, not non-Terrell, never ever.
No, I personally believe in the because you're going to be able to kite away from this composition if you are Linny, because I believe that she mechanically can kite away properly, especially because they have a lot of backline access and you're building shield bow on top of, excuse me, on the barrier. You're going to get a lot of shielding from it, and I personally believe that would have been better because what's the exhaust going to do when you have both
The exhaust
Vladimir
is for
and
the Kazakhs and
but
the
what about
Vladimir.
but what about the Vladimir? If you use it on one, the other person is just going to kill you.
Well, you also have the Alistar to help. But here's the thing. Right? You don't go barrier into Rel. Her Q removes all shields, right? This is common knowledge.
Right, but again, you're not taking the barrier for the rel. You're taking the barrier for the assassins here.
But at that point, the exhaust does just the same thing and allows for you to go for more kill pressure in lane, right?
But again, same situation we're in. If Vladimir goes in and the exhaust goes on him, he can just hourglass, and then Kha'Zix goes in for the cleanup. That's the situation that I want to see from UPS. But if I'm third impact, I'm basically looking at, okay, protect Lenny until they burn everything. Once they burn everything, then you can turn around.
So I have to see that. I would have to see how they play it. But in my opinion, right, this comp that Third Impact has is just a stone wall, right? It's really hard to actually go in and just brute force through the stone wall. It would take so in my opinion, it's easier to execute a stone wall comp than it is to have to go through these shenanigans where Rel has to find this perfect engage, Kha'Zix has to find this perfect flank or something like that. Vladimir has to pull in. We have to steal the right ultimate. Vayne has to play really, really safe until it's actually time to, start chasing down kills, doing damage, right? It's just, I feel like it's impossible. The tools that Third Impact has, right? So many ways to just disrupt these fights, right? And
But at
actually
the
do what they want.
but at the same time, I really do believe that if they misexecute, even with a Stonewall composition, we've seen so far in the first 2 weeks that even with Stonewall compositions, you can falter.
That's
And
true.
that's the biggest issue that I have is it's still early in the season. So even though they've been playing for a while, what if the Stonewall composition doesn't work out as planned? Now what? That's the other thing we have to. We're assuming that they're going to steamroll UPS.
Not 100%.
Not 100%, but that's the
do.
general. That's the general idea. I'm not saying I believe in it and you believe in it, but the general, from what I've been hearing a lot, is that generally with this draft and with the type of players that both teams have, is that Third Impact is going to steamroll, in a sense, UPS. But my biggest concern is, again, 35 minutes, everybody's, if it's an even game, I really think that UPS's composition is so much better. Because what are you going to do against a late game Vladimir that his ult's on a low cooldown?
I actually want to direct everyone's attention to the fact that Vladimir was the one that got linked to with the Silas. Because Silas has the ability to steal. As we're going to get a little bush camping here, but just a little trade.
I don't think Silas wins this.
Yeah.
Especially with the Volibear nearby.
You can't proc Conqueror fast enough to win.
Wait, so what do you mean length? Like,
so to those watching who don't know, Silas is able to get a Black Spear at the very beginning, purchase it, and put it on a teammate, right? This is every single game. But
also,
the ult only works if the enemy team has a Callista, right? You can buy a Black Spear and it won't do anything unless the enemy team has the Callista and you can steal that ultimate. Meaning, he can throw the Vladimir in and the Vlad can knock up, throw down his ult pool, and be disruptive. So I do think that is something interesting that we didn't really think about.
Something else that's interesting, did Alistar just forget to buy items?
Uh-oh.
Wow, that's bad. Hey, They just lost whatever early lane pressure, honestly, with that slightly.
How long do you think it takes for him to notice?
Probably as much time as it takes my ex-girlfriend to apologize. I don't know.
So never? Wow,
So
look
never.
at Zuko here.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Ornn trading early. Silas, ooh, but he does get some of the Conqueror's procs. But the problem is that Silas really can't trade into the Ornn until he gets to level 2, 3, honestly. And that's going to be the big thing that I want to see is, oh, as both bot... Oh, no, Vayne gets level 2 first. Okay, so they are going to get the Pulverize, but okay. Good oh my
Yeah.
wow.
So I do want to point out that Silas does have 2 potions, right? As well as
he's popping one of them.
Yeah, Ornn with the grasp is already going to be like really, really tanky and safe. And like we saw in that bot lane trade, because Alistar didn't have the items, they couldn't execute the minions. So they lost the level 2 advantage.
Yeah, and we saw the damage.
Look at Ornn charging in.
No, he's fine.
Oh, good dodge, yeah.
Yeah, he's fine. They're both level 3 now, so they should be fine. Zuko's playing this really awkwardly.
Yeah. He's really not winning these early trades into Ornn. Look at that.
Ooh, wait. Oh, wait.
Watch this grab.
Oh my God,
the knockup is the first blood for Silas.
Wow. That I don't know if you guys noticed it too, but there was a tower shot that Fat Girl Delicious took.
That's
I don't know.
insane.
Yeah, Fat Girl Delicious took that tower shot, and that basically allowed Zuko to really trade in perfectly with the Conqueror stack. So that's going to be super massive.
Yeah,
right
Fat
there.
Girl Delicious teleporting back in. And this is just so bad because neither summoner spell was really used in that fight, but because Ornn lost out, has to TP back to lane, meaning Zuko will have the teleport advantage. Another thing I wanted to talk about earlier is Vladimir going for the Ignite in this matchup instead of the TP.
I like the Ignite here because of the fact that they have a lot of healing, and it does cut the healing of Notorious Mid on this pick. As we do see Zuko, we see Yogi looking to possibly dive topside, but I think that's pretty risky. That is really risky. I wouldn't go for it. Definitely. He's wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely.
But
both junglers on each other's Krugs. And
I would like
be spotted.
Wait, will Mailbox actually?
He's getting TP'd on. Look at Yogi here.
Oh my God!
He's channeling a recall, but he does get on. Yogi does react, but that's a kill.
Wow, that is so troll. What?
Wow, that was just no words. Zuko 2-0 already,
and he has blue buff. Oh, there goes the combo.
Look at the engage here.
Let's look a little bit deep though. Oh, good.
Great double man knockup.
There's
but
no heal. There's no heal.
Oh. Yeah, Ghost Guitar so long. Both exhausts coming down. The ADCs really trying their best. Already pulling.
Oh my God.
Really close. There's a knockup in the Ignite. One auto will take it. Ghost of Liddy going for the second. Ghost of Guitar getting the stun onto Runeato. Runeato does have flash, but decides not to use that. As both junglers are fighting down here. Kha'Zix using the escape tool, but Zuko and Fat Girl Delicious are just taking this fight. This should be Fat Girl Delicious going down. He does have the flash. There is the flash, but he decides to hold on to it. Wow.
First thing I want to talk about is the bot lane. We talked about the potential 2v2 as Silas does get the ultimate.
Here comes the ultimate. It hits, but is it enough? Here's the flash. There's the but there's the knockout. It's the shutdown.
That was really greedy. What the hell is he thinking?
Yeah, he flashed onto him, but he didn't get the CC chain because with the brittle, you can technically CC chain and burst the Ornn there, but a great Biddle's Breath there to just get the damage, get the knockup, and he just didn't have the damage there.
So I want to talk about a little bit of the bot lane trade. Really good to bait out with the exhaust too. So that means Vayne could not get the kill onto the Alistar. And then that was just a late heal and a great headbutt pulverize combo back from Kitaro. They kind of misplayed it. And that they did miss the opportunity to kind of gank bot side earlier, but Mailbox didn't take that opportunity. And that's the big question mark is he doesn't play towards bot side. Right now, your top side is now still kind of in a good position. I mean, he's still up 300 gold. But now this bot lane is the big question but that's the power of Linny on the Kalista early.
Yeah.
But again, and she does have a CS lead and they are freezing, but this is the big question. But then again, we've seen this is a really interesting position because wow, is Mailbox actually going for a dragon?
Yeah, of course.
What?
By taking this freeze, they give up all prio mid and bot, right?
Someone pinch me. I've never seen Mailbox go for a dragon in my games. Like, what the hell is this?
It makes sense. It really does, because when you are playing this stuff like the Kazakhs, especially against one of these front-to-back stone wall, comps, you really want to avoid confrontation 5v5, especially when you have these crazy solo laners, right? So getting these early dragons, delaying the enemy team from stacking, and even stacking yourself potentially, is really good here.
Still setting up the freeze bot side, which is really good. I want to take a look at the mid CS because it's a 20 CS lead, and this is what I don't like Third Impact not doing is looking to. Alright, so we're gonna see the play bot side.
Here comes the ultimate. The Fate's Call going on to Ghost2G4. Here comes the headbutt into the pulverize. Drown is out of position. He does have flashed.
Oh, he's not. He's just gonna have to die. Yeah, Lenny just.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just get the level 6 first, and that's a big combo that they're going for. So I kind of like the pick with the Kalista.
Yeah.
But again, this is gonna be the thing. We talked about the early game and that they kind of are misplaying it. Volibear is mid.
He does have the ultimate, but Vladimir can be really safe with the pool.
Yeah.
See if they can gate it out. He isn't running to tower, so he can be stuck here. Here comes the ultimate. There's the pool, but they can potentially kill him. There's the ultimate combo, and here's Alistar looking for the headbutt, and doesn't want to take the kill.
He flashed right into it.
Yeah, with the pool there. Fat Girl Delicious and Zuko are just trading up here. Probably not going to result to anything. We're not going to see any real fights, but yeah, right there, really well played. Ghost2G4 with the amazing roam mid lane, as well as when you're Tay there playing the Vladimir, all you gotta do is use your flash and your pool to get under tower, right? Yeah, you're not gonna get caught there.
Yeah, that's all you had to do, but it kind of feels like he wanted to force it a little bit there. He doesn't have any good items yet. He only has the Hextech alternator, which is really gonna allow him to have some damage in terms of trading, but in reality, wait.
Yeah,
Kalista could have been caught
doesn't
out
want to pick a trader.
Yeah, I saw that too, and it was interesting. He didn't want to pull that trigger. I would have had a great opportunity because Alistar was not nearby.
But of course, it comes down to did they know that, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of good. Look at the vision on the bot side of the map, though. If you're kind of looking at on blue side, they have double pink ward. So they have a lot of great vision.
Yeah, wow, look at the headbutt pulverize onto Rentato. Still doesn't have 6.
Yeah, they're so far behind right now. This is not a good game too, but the orange... Ooh, Zuko's going a little bit on the tower. Does get the heal up.
Breath. Here comes the ultimate.
Did he get the snipe? Oh, no, he doesn't.
Oh, great sidestep. Zuko actually pretty low. If Ornn ults himself, right? Here it comes. The call of the Forge God.
Oh my god!
Wow! Really good sidestep, good dodge, and then the outplay there. Neither top laner really could have done, like, it was so close. Both calls fake would have killed.
Zuko took that earlier dive, and he kind of is repaying Facro Delicious. That's already 2 solo kills in this lane, and he's going to be able to crash the wave into the top side, so Facro Delicious might be forced to use a teleport. Yeah, he is going to be using the teleport topside, so Zuko will have teleport for a potential next fight, and he's 3-1-0. I still, ooh, I'm going to have to stop myself real quick. There's fighting everywhere.
Yeah, there's fighting mid, there's fighting bot. Tay getting pretty low, does have the pool, will use it to get out. Here comes the ultimate, though, to turn off the tower. You're getting bitten by that bear, getting pretty low. Will the flash come out from Yogiza? It does. It gets taken out, but here's Evil Mailbox with the counter. Should find Yogi as Zuko TPing mid. That's a double kill double kill mid lane as Ghost and Lenny.
Oh, wait.
But here's Rutato. He has a great positioning, but the headbutt pulls rise, good rotation. The pull does not kill. Rutato pretty low. The ignite will fall, but here comes Lenny.
Oh
and
my
just
god.
Getting just demolished.
Huge shutdown going over the drought right now. But Zuko with a clean teleport to kind of give it. Yeah, you're going to get some gold back onto Facro Delicious in the top side. But it's still a 400 gold lead in favor of the top side. The shutdown is huge because look at the CS discrepancy in bot side. It's nearly a 30 CS discrepancy. Nearly 20.
Yeah. One thing we haven't even talked about once is these junglers. Mailbox at the 2-0-1 with the Eclipse. He's sitting so pretty this game.
And I like the optimization coming in from the Rutato's Rel with the Bramble Vest, because I believe, like, because of the fact that they're going to be looking to trade and get auto attacked a lot. Because if you look at the composition, a lot of them are auto attack based. Like, your damage dealers are AA based.
Yeah.
Which is just Kalissa. So I really like that itemization right there, but that's going to be the early dragon. Yeah, so this is going to be the ocean dragon possibly.
Zuko did have the TP advantage, but used it to get back to lane. So right now, both teams are sitting pretty. Both mid laners can roam down here, but blue team will get the Drake, but will they come out with their lives? And they will. Back off is UPS.
Yeah, Tay did not have... Tay just gets his ultimate up right now, too, and I also believe that Notorious Mid had his ultimate up, too. I do really like the itemization with the Oblivion Roar because of the fact that Vladimir heals. But one of the counters that I really think that Vladimir can go, and I generally go with this route if I am...
Up Pulverives. Nothing much to it. Koitaro actually taking a chunk of damage in return there. Good play by Drown with the completed Kraken Slayer.
This is a point of the game that I really think they can turn around on too, because Vayne's going to be able to out trade, especially with the PTA into the Kraken Slayer proc and into the Silver Bolts, because I want to see... Okay, so there is 4 points into the Silver Bolts. So right now, this is in favor into the DPS still for the Kalissa, but I really do believe that if she misplays it and doesn't actually get the exhaust off properly, that Linny could go down to Vayne, but we're not going to see anything else. They're just going to be recalling. I think they're going to be getting the shield bow.
Yes, this should be the shield bow, as Moonstone does come out by the Seraphine. Did take a recall to pick that up.
Ooh, okay.
Spectre Delicious just an unfavorable trade in my opinion, as Zuko takes a tower shot, takes 2, gets knocked up.
Look at the heal though, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh my, wait!
Wow!
He didn't get the ultimate off.
That was like 3 Silas Qs in the span of 2 seconds. That's insane.
5, 1, and 2 right now, and oh, what a great condemn right there. That was actually a really good condemn, but look at the...
Here's Yogi, he's caught out in his own jungle, has to ult over, but they're continuing this hijacked ultimate, but here comes the play on the bot side. Drown getting engaged on, exhaust going down, there's the damage, but Rentato gets stunning up, does have the W, but he's gonna be so slow. Pull out those spears, double kill for Lenny.
But that's the thing. So the exhaust went down onto the Vayne. The Vayne kind of missed position, kind of went forward a little bit when she didn't have to, but that was also the good job with the Alistar and the Kalissa combo. But right now, if I'm third impact, I'm scared because you have the jungler Fred and you have your topside Fred. Your tank is so far behind right now. That's a 10 stack Magi. That's 10 stacks on the Magi's right now.
Directed in mid lane. Here comes the Encore. We'll find 2, but this would be a dead. Wow, getting 3 people under this mid tower. Poor Notorious mid.
And now look at it. 9 out of the 10 kills are on Zuko. Yeah, they get the first tower bot side, and yeah, they're a little bit ahead. But that top side is so scary. Think about it. Vladimir is 0-2 and 2, but he does have the Hextech Proto Belt, which means he has a little bit more mobility. Kha'Zix is just 3-0-2, as the Alistar is getting caught out, but the Silence is looking at the Ornn. There's fighting everywhere.
Yeah, top lane shouldn't amount to much, but we should be directed towards what's happening around this bot side river.
Come on, NA Production. Come on. I want to see some... No, wait. They're not fighting bot side.
Yeah, I think that both teams kind of just backed off, right? Alistar was being aggressive, but it was more of a bluff, and Kha'Zix didn't know who was really behind him. But wow, here gets the hijacked ultimate. Call of the Forge God. Zuko looking for it. Guess get knocked up. Does have to flash out. If this hits, it could kill.
It did, but it doesn't kill.
Not. Yeah.
He has his mythic item. Like, how are you going to kill him when you don't even have your mythic item yet? Like,
yeah, and these boots.
This is going to actually... We actually talked about it. It's not even that much of a gold lead. It's only a 500 gold lead, even with the first tower and all that gold onto Lenny, because it's kind of counteracted with the top side of the map. Now, what I kind of want to see from this composition build is I do want to see the Edge of Night coming in from Mailbox, so I think that's a really great item to build here, as it looks like Lenny's going to go for the Runons. I want to see... Okay, so we see the Magi Soul Stealer coming out, the completed one. So right now, Zuko is the hyper carry.
Yes.
I personally want to see a Cosmic Drive into a Spirit Visage from Vladimir. Because that's going to give him more AP, more cooldown, more movement speed. That's going to be so busted on him. I've actually ran that a few times with that combination, and I really do think that Cosmic Drive into Spear Visage is a really good build path for the Vladimir. As
Yeah. Yogi takes an auto attack, but right now vision control is 100% in favor of blue side. But here's the problem with blue side right here. Wow. Drown really positioning up.
Yeah, he missed a headbutt. Oh, here comes a Volibear though.
Wow, the ultimate just looking for Vayne. Drown has to flash out. The Fate's Call pulling in. They found Mailbox. Mailbox using his ultimate to reposition. Runeato trying to go in with the Magnus Storm. Will find the knockup onto both Runeato and Tay, but Keitaro getting really low. Yogiza trying to chase Drown, but Tay will find down. Wow, but Zuko's in the middle of the team, absolutely getting destroyed. The shutdown going to Keitaro, but down goes Keitaro as well. Factor Delicious is the only one left as Drown.
Drown's popping off though.
Yeah, Drown's popping off.
Oh, but he won't be able to get the kill. Scattered fight right there, but Yogi went a little bit too far. He did get flash, he did flash away, but he took a lot of tower shots. The last auto from the Vayne did get the proc to get the first Mountain Dragon as part of the soul. And that was just a good, I believe that was a 3-for-2 fight. That was really well done. The Seraphine ultimate hit a lot of the members, but they had no access to the damage because Kalissa had to flash away from that fight. Good flash from Drown as well, too, to get out of that. And now he's going to be able to pick up the free farm bot side as Kalissa is mid. And we talked about the Vladimir. The Vladimir is just able to sustain through a lot of these fights. Zuko dies, which means he doesn't get his stacks. Ooh, they're really wanting to go for this play. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Only thing up is cool. Yeah. I do want to touch on, hopefully no fighting happens, but Facto Delicious is getting comboed half health already from one combo, and those cooldowns are coming back up as Zuko is just going to chase down the Thorn.
Oh, that was so clean. If you kind of notice the Kingslayer combo, I believe into the Epstone into the Abduct, really allowed him to stop the Ornn from dashing. So I really think that was a great play. It gives him 4 stacks on the Magi's, and it gives him top tower. They actually have a gold lead. Granted, I mean, it's 2 items on Kalissa right now too. But if you're third impact, I would be scared of you have a 3-0-3 Kha'Zix, 7-2 and 5 Silas. Vladimir's ramping up right now in terms of itemization. I don't like the positioning though.
As Volibear will find Zuko, Keitaro getting pretty low actually. Has to pop the ultimate. But this true damage is going to go through that ultimate.
And through the shield too, as the Vladimir is going to be diving in.
Yep, let's diving. Here comes the call of the Forge God. They do find Zuko as Yogiza is the next to follow. Ghost of Lenny finds Tay. Great ultimate by Keitaro finding 2. Drown getting low. The knockup doesn't hit as the magnetic storm's going on. Will do a good job peeling for Vayne. Drown is shredding through Down Delicious. But Notorious barely.
Oh my god, these team fights are go by a knife's edge right now, but Drown gets 2 more kills. And that was just really a lot of diving by Tay. They do force the exhaust and the shield bow proc. But my god, Drown is actually playing these fights a lot cleaner than before. He's 5-3 and 3.
I do want to point out something is when it comes down to a comp like this, right? You have to be a stone wall, an impenetrable force, right? Where they just can't get onto you, and anytime they try, you shut that down, right? Instantly. The problem was when they tried to engage with the Volibear, while it looked kind of coordinated, they had the Fate's Call on top of the Stormbringer ultimate on Volibear, right? They tried to combo it, but they just flashed away, and then they got repositioned on the Rel getting the counter engage, right? They just got blown apart. Ghost of Lenny couldn't do that much in that fight because of the threat of Mailbox, Zuko TP, and Tay. So the biggest thing is if you are overextending on an engage like that, then your wall has holes, slots that the enemy can get through and just penetrate, right? You're no longer impenetrable as they're starting Baron.
Yeah, look at the vision control that they have. It's only going to be Factor of Delicious. Alistar's not nearby. There's no teleport on Seraphine.
Ornn spots it though.
Ornn does spot it, and the Volibear is nearby, but I don't think they're going to get to it in time. They just rip through this.
300 health, 2,000, 800 smite.
What a cheeky play. What a great call from UPS, though. And I wanted to let you guys know, like, look at the itemization from Drown. Phantom Dancer with the Kraken Slayer. That's huge, and I'm assuming that he's going to be going for the... I would like to see the Blade of the Ruin King come out. Great sustain item for the Vayne, as well as it does do the percentage health and just demolishes in team fights.
Nikolai, speaking of itemization, the Serpent's Fang coming out from Mailbox, second item. It's for the...
He built this against he built this against OTS during last season's playoffs, and he talks about that this item is very underrated, and especially with their composition with the shield bow, with the Seraphine shield, and it's just massively well done. I like that itemization coming out from Mailbox.
So both teams are trying to fight for river presence here, getting vision down. Right now it is UPS favored as they are in the river, denying vision, establishing control wards, right? The only thing in the, Third Impact needs to do is get that push mid lane, threaten that tower, but Dragon spawning in 8 seconds.
I'm willing. If I'm UPS, I don't care about the tower. I just care about this Dragon, and we're gonna see the Fate's call.
Here comes the Fate call.
That's a better ultimate. That ultimate's down.
Yeah, Tay will get headbutt pulverized into the wall. Right, but there's the encore onto the Vayne. If they can get onto the Vayne, they don't, but they're too busy falling back. Goes with Lenny, literally trying to peel back. Tay will get... Oh! They're not dead. Wow.
Fight!
The hijacked encore by Silas, so crucial there. They're going to get Dragon, and they have Baron, so they're going to siege it down mid, possibly get a top tower or bot tower on top. This is just a really bad team fight after bad team fight. It seems that the team that's doing the counter engaging, which is this Silas, UPS comp, right? They don't have to worry about any of that stuff when the enemy team is trying to engage, right? And just really having a hard time getting things to work, right?
I don't care if I'm bi or not. My old team is showing up today, and they're going all out in this mid game. The perfect positioning in these fights from Drown, as he was just able to get free hit. The Kalissa just pulled up a little too much. Rel was able to get the ultimate down with the Magnetic Storm onto the Kalissa, and the free hitting from both the Kha'Zix, Silas, and the Vladimir onto the Kalissa mean that she couldn't do anything. And that's the problem. You talked about the stone wall being a massive factor in this line, but that's where I was literally trying to convince everybody else that, like, that's not true. This composition is going to run at you. This composition will get to that back line, and we have seen it for the last 2 fights now. That's been the case.
The Vayne being able to tear apart these front lines, right? Anytime the Volibear looks for an engage, the Ornn looks for an engage, the Fate's Call throwing that Alistar in, right? You just simply are going to have those tanks that are all the way in Narnia, right? Getting thrown all the way into Narnia, getting shredded because the backline isn't there, right? It's a stone wall. If the wall is in front of the soldiers that are trying to defend it, right? That wall's getting torn down. So here, it's just really well played by UPS, capitalizing, using the amazing hijacked ultimates, the encore, okay, nothing really happening mid lane, but just amazing.
I do want to point out that Kalissa is looking to build into the IE, which actually I do not like here. I really think that the best thing she could have done was go for the Bloodthirster, because she definitely needs to sustain in these fights, especially because she has the Hail of Blades. She gets the benefit attack speeds. She's really going to be great at kiting. The only reason why is because now she has less life steal, meaning that she's not going to be able to sustain as quickly, especially with this burst composition now coming out from the Silas, coming out from the Vladimir. The Vladimir is just going to be running down too. Will he be able to get the ultimate? But no.
Wow. The exhaust, but the flash E.
Is she dead? Oh my god, that's the issue.
Wow.
Vladimir still blows you up because that exhaust was a little bit too early. But look at the itemization.
You're right. Everything was blown there by the Vladimir, but the kills being secured there is so important because that's their strongest member that's not on the map for the next 17 seconds, allowing them to push this mid lane. They don't have the best sieging, right?
Right, they don't have the best sieging though, but they do have the wave clear for the side of Third Impact. But you have got to start worrying if you're Third Impact. You're getting into the point of the game. Vayne is about to probably go back. Yeah, she will be recalling because I believe she actually has the gold. Yeah, so Drown has the gold for Blade of the Ruin King. You still are not building Bloodthirster. Your mid laner is not full AP, which means you can still build armor against this composition, and you will not die.
Yeah. As the Blade of the Ruined King getting picked up, finally Vladimir picking up a Void Staff, right? Really
Oh,
key purchases. But the Rel at 26 minutes, finally getting that mythic, finally completing that first item. To all the support mains in the chat, right? We feel bad for how broke you are in some of these games, right? Picking up scraps with the ABC.
While we may criticize for the itemization for the lateness of it, I really do think as we're gonna see the Ornhorn.
Yeah, the Fate's Call, the return Fate's Call. This is not gonna go well.
Oh my god, look at the damage though. That's 3 items on Vayne.
Just out of position there by Fatco Delicious.
And the Baron's gonna be coming up soon. And this is the other issue. Like, I want to go back to the Rentato point real quick. Who cares about the itemization when you're pulling off a lot of these team fight ultimates that are really setting up for your carries to be in it? And that's the threat of the Rel. He may have not done well last game, but he is damn sure showing up in this game really well, and they get the second Baron of the game. Dragon's about to respawn, or about to spawn too. This is Soul Point.
Yeah. UPS deciding not to go for the recall. They want to be in the river, potentially walking into the team, but they find it. Tori Smith. He's already half health. Retato looking for a magnetic storm. They found Ghost of Lenny. There comes the Encore hitting 2, but here's their own Encore hitting that Ghost of Guitar, but Ghost of Guitar.
He's just running after them.
Oh wow! The Tori Smith gets one shot. Ghost of Lenny should fall soonly. There goes half health. Taking it down.
That should be Dragon, if not game, because they only have 2 players up. I would assume that they want to go for the inhibitor, but that's 30
Zuko
seconds.
doesn't care. Towers don't matter. Fatco Delicious is their target. He has an X on his name. Tay looking for him.
They do have to. Yeah, I would just get the inhibitor and back off. I mean, they're going to be up in 20 seconds unless they want to go for game.
20 seconds might be enough time, depending on their comp. They are trying to kill these waves, get this wave under tower, but
they have the Baron. They have Baron. They should be able to win.
Call of the Forge God coming up soon. They're gonna have to do something. They can't just let their towers be taken. Here comes the engage. Does find 2. Rentato going in, right? But that should be it. Ghost Fatco Delicious taken down. Ghost of Tower taken down.
That's game.
This is game. The TP coming out by the Silas. Zuko, amazing performance. UPS taking the dub versus Third Impact. What a game.
Wow. Wow. Like, I really thought that early game, I should have put points into UPS. I'm being biased. My old team popped off like I said they would in the mid to late game that we talked about. And yes, it's a Stonewall composition, but when you have no AP threat like an Orianna or even a Lysandra, any type of massive AP damage that would have been able to help with the team fight, you're able to just go on to Lenny, and then what are you supposed to do? Drought was just so successful, and Drought was just able to just free hit all the tanks, and they just shred through them. Mailbox, Tay, and Zuko really just gap the rest of the map, and I
speaking of gap, Mailbox.
Hi, Jared.
I love you, Jared.
Hi.
How was that game for your team, honestly? After that first loss that you guys had recently, tell me, how do you feel after getting this second victory in your second game?
It's their first victory.
Oh, sorry, first victory of the second game.
Good. It was fun.
Was it fun? It looked fun. You guys were having
Yogi.
an insane game.
Yogi told me he picked the wrong Rengar.
Were you at all shocked that they actually left up your Kazakhs though?
Yeah, it was more. I don't know why they banned Senna.
I'm assuming that's just because they wanted Drought. Was Drought wanting to pick the Senna anyways, or was it more just like, oh, I guess they just wanted to pick that?
I'm not sure. We picked. I mean, I don't know. They just left Kazakhs open, but I think he wanted to play Rengar into it, right? Because Rengar counters Kazakhs, and then he didn't pick Rengar. I think the draft fell apart that way.
That's unfortunate. But still, I mean, like, your Kazakhs gameplay was really, really great. Not to say, you kind of got...
I did
You
nothing,
kind of
bro.
got shadowed. You're in the shadow of Zuko there. Because, wow, beautiful
I did
gameplay.
nothing that game except shot call. I made sure Zuko never died to ganks.
Hey, and that's what's important.
Were you surprised that Zuko got so many kills early and was just like taking really aggressive trades, even though it was just like, oh, we don't know if he's gonna win those trades, but he seemed to like really have like a vendetta after you guys lost the first game. So was it kind of that way, or was he just like, I can just destroy Fat Girl Delicious?
I think he just knows he's comfortable into the tank matchup and on Silas. I think he's really comfortable with it.
That might be a bannable champion in the near future after the last 2 games.
And he pretty much knew where the jungler was the whole time, so he could take as aggressive trades as he wanted.
Well, that moves you guys up to 1-1 though. So I don't know who you guys played next week, but are you really excited that you guys? Who are you guys playing?
I don't know for next week.
But you guys must be excited. You guys must be excited for getting your first win though, especially against a really good team though in Third Impact.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun game. The enemy was very good, and they put up a fight.
All right. Well, Mailbox, thank you for being here. Your team played insanely well. We want to see how you guys do in your next game. And just thank you again for being here. And good luck to you guys in your next games. We hope to see and maybe cast those games in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
You gotta love Jared's interviews because he's very he's very mellow.
Yeah,
he doesn't like he's very just like
just laid back.
He's like an ASMR channel. He's like, so we really didn't care about what we wanted to do there.
Yeah, it was fun, you know. I was just having a good time. I love the guy.
But honestly, I know you thought that Third Impact draft was really good, and I would agree with you. But we saw eventually what I thought was gonna happen was it was gonna get to the point in the mid to late game, or at least in the mid game, where Lenny was gonna be too prioritized on, and they had no backup damage, and that's the that's the threat of having that type of composition with a supportive mid. And it's the same thing with like a Karma mid, for example, a Lulu mid, because they're not a high AP scaling champion. Like, I really like their first game. Their first game was really well drafted. They had a lot of carries everywhere. They did have the Senna. They had the Wukong for a great amount of AD and a late game. They had a strong AP mid laner, and they had also the Cho'Gath top, which did provide some good source of magic damage. This game was interesting because it was mostly tank, support, AD, tank. What are you going to do with that?
So the Rengar draft shenanigans aside, right? I don't think their comp was that bad, right? I really think that it just came down to the execution, and the biggest problem was the top lane, right? Zuko was a menace, right? He was able to make it so that the Ornn was not a problem at all, right? And anytime he stole and hijacked an ultimate, he was able to use it against them, and that was the key defining part in every single team fight. It was simply Zuko just playing it so well, and Tay following up, staying alive, doing so much damage, destroying these backline carries. I think that those two together single-handedly defined and were the major contributors to how this game progressed and how it ended, right? I think that they lived and died on those two players and carried the game entirely.
And even though Vladimir did get caught out a little bit early, that we saw a few times, he made up a lot of that gold for the early deficit in the CS department. He was ahead by 20-30 CS in that mid lane matchup against Seraphine, and that's what really allowed him to keep up, even with the itemization going against him. So I really do have to credit Tay for kind of saying, I'm going to be able to hold down the fort in the mid lane. He did get a lot of ganks from Mailbox, which was fine because Mailbox was able to capitalize with everything else. Because basically Zuko was already winning top lane. They couldn't go through bot as much, except for the few fights in the river. And that's where I think this team can do really well, is if they actually play more towards their solo laners and, and maybe Mailbox starts to focus more on the bot side of the map since he does have hyper carries in the top side of the map.
That's true. He did have really, really good solo laners, but I also would have liked to see more from Yogi, right? Yogi had 2 ganks, like a bunch of really good ganks mid, but other than that, it felt like Yogi was really only playing towards mid lane, but at that point, it's Seraphine versus Vladimir. They had a dominating bot lane, right? Lenny and Kitaro were just solo killing over and over. Their duo was just simply, they were playing it better, right? Whether it comes down to draft or just player, right? They were playing fights 2v2s so well. And like, maybe if they got more resources, they could have been a threat because
They
at
had
that point, you punished the Vlad and the Vlad one-shot him.
You have the potential to put the Vayne even farther behind, I think, with the Volibear, where you could have looked for a dive bot side, especially with the Alistar combo, being able to tank tower, and then you just get the Kalista ultimate for the Fate's Call into more combo knockups too, and then you can just get the tower down. So they missed an ample amount of opportunity. And I'm going to want to see, are they going to actually start focusing more on giving more hyper carries? Because it kind of feels like they're forcing topside to play a tank when Fat Girl Delicious is a really good carry.
Mm-hmm.
He is a really good, strong side carry. We just see him in these tank matchups, and we saw there that he wasn't able to win versus a Sylas because Sylas is really good against tanks. Mm-hmm. And they really are putting all these. And one of the things I do want to criticize about Linny is the fact that she wasn't able to abuse her lead. I think she mispositioned a little bit. There was a lot of fights where she was kind of caught out by the Rel ultimate. Her team wasn't in front of her. She was already ahead. And this is a problem with her playstyle that we did kind of see in OTS last season when they were in the playoffs, was her over-aggressiveness. Able to, she has large leads in terms of gold value. But what happens when one fight and all of a sudden, boom, you're dead because you're out of position. Now the other enemy AD carry, like we saw it in this game, like Drought, look at Drought. Drought was behind by 30, 40 CS. That could have been a bot gap of a game, but Drought just came back and I honestly would give him, if it wasn't for Zuko popping off, I probably would have given him the MVP.
Really?
Because Zuko would have been probably just face tanking and stealing ultimates, which would have been fine, which is normal for Sylas to do. But because of the fact that Sylas was able to garner such a lead in the top side and affect the rest of the map, tremendous. If you don't have that, the game goes a little bit differently.
Definitely.
But assuming that UPS still wins, look at the way Drought played those last few team fights. He was able to just position so properly well behind his front line, behind the Rel, just able to kite it out perfectly, was able to survive a lot of these team fights, and that's where I think Drought, again, if Zuko wasn't the carry and wasn't the star of the show, it felt like, I would have given it to Drought for MVP.
So I think that's a very interesting idea to put on there, but it's also just the idea of the reason Drought looked so good was because you had 3 threats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heck, I would say 4 threats. You had the Sylas that was just a team fight, solo kill. He was a Wander. He was like this prodigy. But then you had the Kha'Zix. You always have to be worried about that Kha'Zix wiping your team if you isolate and you're not positioning. But then you had that Vladimir that had the team fight prowess, right? Staying alive, doing so much damage, getting that ultimate down. And then there's that Vayne, right? At some point, you're thinking, okay, I have to worry about all 3 of these, and your last idea is that Vayne. But when you're dealing with all of these, that Vayne gets to shine. You're not targeting that Vayne. That Vayne gets to just silver bullets your entire front line, and then at that point, you're down.
Is that how you cosplay Vayne? You just go pew pew.
Or she would be more like,
Yeah, I mean, we saw how my cosplay went during semifinals against OTS. So, I really got to give it to UPS. They really turned it around after the first game. First game looked really, really bad. They looked uncoordinated in that first game against OTS. I mean, granted, it was against our team, but like their macro just kind of forced everything. This game, they kind of let everybody come to them and say, hey, we don't mind taking the early loss on the bot side because top side's winning, jungle's winning, mid is even. We're going to get to the late game point, and they kind of allowed them to kind of make the mistakes, and that is what allowed them to also capitalize. And I think this was a really good game.
Definitely, from first game to this game, Mailbox having their team and Mailbox specifically not having a good game, right? From this, right? I would say Mailbox still took that back position, right? He was just being the shot caller. He was being the second support on Kha'Zix, which is kind of crazy. But, you know, like from first game to second game, this was definitely an improvement. And I would love to see their team improve even more. Like, I would like to see Mailbox return to his prime if possible, right? I would love to see him be that 1v9 carry, as well as having these supporting characters. But these supporting characters, they just they rose to the occasion. They shined. So UPS, beautiful play. They just looked insane this game, right? So
yeah, so we'll definitely see how they. So guess what? 2 undefeated teams left, and guess who they are?
who are they?
It's our teams.
Which teams?
That would be La Espada and OTS.
Wow, I heard those are 2 good teams.
Yeah, apparently a certain player on a certain team said that OTS was 7th place, so we'll see. But yeah, that's great games. We also apologize from our caster perspective about the first game. So if you're on the Discord, you'll definitely know who won. So we'll definitely be able to let you guys know
Definitely.
who wins that
Stay
game.
tuned.
Because that was a really spicy game, actually. That was actually going to be a spicy game. They had a Nasus top lane.
Yeah.
They had Nasus in the top lane.
We shouldn't get into it. We shouldn't.
No more spoilers.
Yeah, of course. But again, like, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate everybody who watches. Like, you guys are amazing for the league. And honestly, we have some more games, more heated matchups, great commentary coming to the future. So if you guys like, leave a follow, subscribe, just support the stream in any way you can. But for now, that wraps up UPS versus Third Impact. Thank you guys for being here.
Bye. Stay toxic.
All I want, something to love from you, baby. Been so long, why you keeping me waiting? All I want, all I want, all I want, all I want. All I want, something to love from you, baby. Been so long, why you keeping me waiting? All I want, something to love from you, baby. Been so long, why you keeping me waiting?